Brian.
I'm sorry.
And,
Welcome to the underground again.
The underworld.
Oh.
So, a couple announcements.
Are you sure? Why are you calling it the underworld? We've been saying underground.
No, yeah, but we're everybody will see soon enough.
Oh.
So, a couple announcements. Number one, I posted this on the Village, but not everybody's on the Village because we have, I think we have 4,700 subscribers. Thank you guys. You guys are ridiculous. And only like 160 people in the Village.
What's happening? You guys need to get on Facebook.
Well, I'll say it again. Folks who are on the Village get their requests expedited because it's a smaller group, and so they can commute. They get to basically cheat. Like Craig, the Avenged Sevenfold fan, he basically single-handedly got us to do Exist earlier. Now, granted, he was asking for quite some time, but anyway. So I posted on the Village. We got published in Inferno Magazine. That's inferno.fi. It's right. It'll be right there or up there. I don't know. I don't know where she's going to put it.
I always like it down.
But we got published for the Behemoth thing that we did last week. So shout outs to Inferno and Johnny from Inferno. We appreciate the shout out, my man. So that's great. So when we finally land the Nergal interview, I'm sure I told him, I said, as soon as we land that interview, I'll let you know. By the way, it's the hashtag visit the Village to Nergal.
But wait, how can that be? Because we're going to obviously want other people to come on. Shouldn't his name be part of it?
Who?
So Nergal, or however you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
So hashtag Nergal visit the Village?
No, they're just going to go to his Twitter and his Facebook and just click Visit the Village.
Oh,
Visit the Village. And then he's going to be like, what does Visit the Village mean?
Okay.
And then people are going to tell him, it's these Christians, they want to talk to you, they love you, they want to...
Okay, alright, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So, unbelievable, guys. Thank you very, very much for that. For that shout out. Can you imagine just doing this stuff for a month and we get published in this crazy magazine? That's to me, it looks like it's like the biggest metal magazine in Finland.
And I feel like even though like it's our faces in there, I still feel like it's all of our Village, because the Village was nothing and there was like no people that were subscribing to it, then I feel like they'd be like, okay, so some Christians reacted, but nobody cares, so we're not publishing it. But the fact that we're growing so rapidly because you guys keep clicking subscribe, that's what made it so that we were on there. So our entire Village was there.
We did that. No, seriously, because you know how the YouTube algorithm works. Like, if there are like 4 people watching our stuff, like, because I asked Johnny, I said, how'd you find our video? And it was in his suggested.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So if you guys hadn't been watching and clicking and subbing and getting your friends to sub, then it wouldn't have been in suggested, and then we wouldn't happen. And we were able to accomplish this as a community in pretty much a month's time. So, as a matter of fact, we shot that Behemoth video last week, which was our month anniversary.
Right.
So, I don't know how interested you guys are, but I want to read you guys some stats, and then you guys can give us feedback and say, nobody cares about your stats, Vin. I mean, who cares? But I want to talk about what we've done as a community since we started this thing, okay? At this point at 11:30 p.m., and we're getting so much better with our technical difficulties, huh?
I know.
Like we were shooting at 5 o'clock.
It's not 5 o'clock in the morning.
We're shooting at 5 o'clock in the morning. So as of this time at 11:30 p.m., we're at 4,750 subscribers, 1,616,086 minutes, and 268,800 views. We accomplished this together in five weeks. Unbelievable. All right. So, without further ado, we are listening to another Behemoth song, Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer.
What does the beginning mean?
Ora Pro Nobis is pray for us. It's Latin.
So he's asking Satan to pray for us?
He's asking Satan to pray for us.
Okay.
So usually you say St. Michael the Archangel, Ora Pro Nobis, or whatever. It's a Catholic thing where, it's pray for us. They pray to saints and they pray to angels. Mm-hmm. And so this is Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer. So again, we continue with the theme of inversion.
Right. All right. Y'all ready for this?
The metal is so good.
I know. Yeah.
Not Adam.
Oh, I know. Me too. I'm like, that's interesting.
Literally heavy as hell. See what I did there? You just got that.
I did. Okay. Definitely want to go line for line and get everything that we can.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Well, the metal. I mean, they were heavy. They were good. It wasn't as like the metal wasn't as heavy as in. I think the other song was better.
Oh yeah, I agree. I still liked this. I mean, obviously, don't like the content.
You liked it?
I know, but the metal, and I liked the vocals too.
His vocals. I think I said this earlier today. He has my favorite vocals.
Yeah, he's
because
definitely.
he doesn't like try to like unnaturally distort his voice. I've been doing a ton of research, and he was there's a 2-minute video of him explaining how to do your death vocals, like the right death vocals, and he was talking about not unnaturally like
that makes
making
sense.
it too low or making, because sometimes it's just like it's like the Cookie Monster. Like, this is an actual human being who's yelling, and I think it's just a good day. He does my favorite death vocals.
Yeah, I can see why.
So what were you saying?
No, I want to go line by line, because it seemed like they're just, first of all, some of it was, what language is that?
Some of it
Greek?
is Latin.
Latin?
Some of it is Latin. And so here's what I found so far in my research with not only him or Satanism or black metal, but just the whole sort of European black death scene. And the funny thing is, I tell you about this, there's a bunch of people saying, these guys are not black metal, they're black.
Yeah.
They're blackened metal.
Blackened?
Blackened metal.
Okay.
And I think we're straying at gnats here. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, they're metal and they're singing to the devil. Like, what?
Well, what are they making as a
I have no idea. I just want to respect the audience and say, okay, we get it. They're probably not pure black metal, but I mean, what the hell?
But you don't know what makes
just sat through 2 odes to the devil. Like, what else?
I know, yeah.
What else is there?
What makes it black metal?
I have no idea.
That's what I want to know.
I don't know. We'll probably have somebody online that can explain it to us, or maybe when we get an interview with the big homie Nergal, he'll be able to school us on the knowledge, because they're big on knowledge, like Prometheus knowledge.
Okay.
But, so some of this was Latin. Okay, so Angela Satani is, angel. Satan the angel, right?
Did you get the first line, voice of a what?
An aeon.
What's an aeon?
Aeon is Greek for ages.
So there was some Greek in there.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like when you see forever in the New Testament, it's aeon.
Okay.
When we say, I'll be with you like forever.
Okay, so this is aeon. Like a voice that's been going on for ages?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
For ages or eternal? There's a difference.
Well, in the New Testament, it can be both.
Oh,
it can be a
okay.
really, really, really long time, or it can be literally eternity.
Okay.
So
voice of an angel.
Voice of an aeon, Angela Satani.
Yep.
Or a pro nobis Lucifer, which is... But before I go into that, the Latin is important because Latin is essentially the official language of the Roman Catholic Church.
Yes.
So there's a lot of their, it's based in the Latin language, and it wasn't
I've
until...
heard ora pro nobis. I don't know what it means, but I've heard that before.
Ora pro nobis means pray for us.
Oh, that's right. We just talked about it at the beginning of the song.
Yeah. But so until Vatican II, right? I mean, all the masses and all that stuff was in Latin.
Yep.
So Latin is basically the mother tongue of the Roman Catholic Church. So here's what I found in my research so far. So apparently the Roman Catholics came in, and this is no disrespect to Roman Catholic. This is a history that I've gotten so far in the brief time I've been able to research, which is why I want to get like a real like black metal European to come and school us on this. But this is what I found. So these guys are pagans, and when I say pagan, I don't mean like generally pagan. I mean like actual pagan, worship the earth, that type of thing.
Okay.
These guys have been around for thousands and thousands of years, predated Christianity, all 9 yards, right?
Okay.
And then the Roman Catholics came in and basically forced a religion on them, crushed them, destroyed their pagan shrines or whatnot, built churches over them, all this stuff.
Okay.
So and then on top of the religious aspect of it, they completely, I want to use a different word, but they completely like strip them of their culture. It's like like these American missionaries or white missionaries, they'll go into the jungle and then they'll take a picture of like the savage dressed up
with
now
haircut,
and saying,
American
look what
clothes.
God has done, and they like they conflate an actual relationship with God with this ethnocentric cultural
right
yeah. Our cultural superior. So they like not only that they like destroy their religion, but they like completely wreck their culture and basically transform them.
Okay.
Right? So here's what's crazy to me. So then this rise of like this Satan, and some of this I got from that documentary Until the Light Takes Us, because in the documentary, I think his name was Varg, I forgot what the guy's name was. But he was in Mayhem, the guy that stabbed his friend 21 to 23 times.
Yep.
And he was talking about how we took part in burning churches and all that, and yeah, we're 9,000 years later, 900 years later, something like that, but it is what it is. I don't care. Because he was saying, hey, look, you guys came in, you destroyed our places, and then you built a freaking church on top of our shrines. Is basically like a, you know. Yeah. So you know, that angst and all that is still there because not only, you know, it's hard to separate a religion from a culture. And I think at some level it's probably impossible.
I think that part of that is when you go in and you force somebody to change rather than allowing the change to happen to them for them to make that decision themselves. I mean, that's the whole problem. Right. You can't.
Right. It displays a fundamental. To me, forcing your religion on somebody is the ultimate testament of your lack of faith.
Exactly. Yes.
It's the ultimate testament of your lack of faith. Because what you're saying is that the message in the way of Christ is not compelling enough in and of itself to draw people.
Yeah.
Because you're basically saying, I don't really believe this stuff, but for whatever reason I'm holding on to it.
Right.
And I got to get this guy to believe in it.
Right.
And he doesn't, he's just like me. He doesn't think this shit works.
Right.
So now I'm going to force it on him.
Right.
Like seriously, like that's, and then it becomes about, you know, what Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying about ego. Mm-hmm. It's nothing to do with Jesus or anything. It's about ego. So so here's what's going on in my mind, like, as I psychoanalyze this whole movement, and I'm listening to I think the guy's name is Varg. I'm sorry, but the guy that stabbed his friend and was part of the church burnings in the 90s or whatever. I don't even know if he was like the guy that lit the match, but he was talking about it. It's this thing where they kind of rose up and they said, you know, screw you guys completely destroyed our culture. You know, all the, and so God became kind of conflated with Roman Catholicism.
Yep.
So then who's the opposite of God from a Christian worldview is Satan.
Right.
And you'll notice that there's always this appeal to power. And there's always this power. And it's because if you come from a culture that's been subjugated by these people, then not only are you going to look to Satan as like the exact opposite, the inversion of the people that oppress your people, but it also gives you a sense of, you know, your self-worth back, because now you're appealing to this force that gives you power and makes you feel as if you have some sort of way of fighting back against people who basically made you powerless because they destroyed your entire culture.
Yeah.
And now a lot of European culture is
enemy of my enemies.
Right, is irreversibly Christianized in the sense of, you know, their monuments, the churches and the things like that, even though that they're empty, they're still there and it's still a reminder. And the analogy that I would use as I'm thinking about them seeing these churches is kind of like what was happening in the US, where you had just last, you know, a couple months ago, where you had all these black folks in the South wanting to tear down these monuments to these slaveholders or whatever, these world, you know, Civil War heroes, because they were saying these are monuments of our subjugation.
Right.
Well, in their context, the monument of their subjugation were the churches.
Right.
So in America, black folks wanted to tear it down. They want to tear it down.
Yeah.
Like I get that, and I even understand like the appeal of Satan in the sense of a guy who rebelled against people, you know, against an oppressive religious authority, and a guy who's powerful, because even the Bible says is that he's extremely powerful. As a matter of fact, was it Michael and Jude wouldn't condemn Satan?
Yes.
Like, he said, "The Lord rebuke you," because he basically knew that Satan outranked him. So he couldn't do that. It wasn't his call. So even the Bible says that Satan is like extremely powerful. And so, like, I get it. I get why, you know, like, I think, obviously there's spiritual implications, but I also think that there's some
real practical,
social, psychological, political reasons for why the Satan figure would be so, you know, appealing.
Yeah.
You know, but of course, the ultimate, if I'm right, and, you know, Satanists, you know, especially European Satanists, I'm not talking about like the imports from the people that listen to it from America.
Right.
I'm talking about the people that have the actual, you know, pathos that's connected to this whole story I just told. But if I'm right, appealing to Satan as your form of escape and power is the ultimate irony, because Satan is a biblical character. So you almost can't...
You can't escape it.
It's like feminists who wear pantsuits. You know, like, oh gosh. But I'm just saying, like, making yourself out to be kind of
I know what you
masculine
mean. Yeah, right.
in order to elevate your
Right.
feminine equality.
Yes.
Is basically
that speaks to the what you're trying to avoid. You're the superiority of men, but
Right.
you're saying that you have to dress like a man to be able to.
Right, in
say
order
you're
to go and
It's
compete,
wait a
play
minute.
ball, you have
No,
to dress
I
like
get
a
it.
man and lose
I
your
get it.
femininity.
I'll wear a pantsuit, but I see what you're saying.
I'm sure you look very nice in a pantsuit. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like when you see all that Latin, it's basically an FU to the Catholic Church, who whatever.
Oh, right.
You alone.
You know what's
have
interesting
suffered.
though? The priests used to speak the message in Latin, and the people didn't understand it.
They didn't understand a word.
So really, it's
Right, prior to
it's an
Vatican
FU
II.
to the priests,
Oh, that's
not
such
so
a good
much
point.
the poor people that were
That is
trying to
such a
find
good-
God.
That's such a good point. It's a priest class. That's right.
Right.
Priests, the bishops, and above. They knew Latin, and prior to Vatican II, they would turn their backs to the.
Yeah.
So the common people had no freaking. That's so true. That's such a good point. That's very good. You alone have suffered the fall and torment of shame.
Yeah. Well,
What?
he's wrong, but I know what he's saying. He's wrong. You alone have suffered the fall and torment of shame. Okay, Satan was cast out of heaven,
Yeah.
but Jesus came down to the earth, took on a human being, on a human body. What do the Muslims say? Like, I mean, human beings, we do disgusting things. We go to the bathroom.
Are you saying
we
that
get
God?
sick.
Yeah, my Muslim friends, and I get the argument.
Yeah.
They're saying you're saying that God pooped, and it's very insulting
Yeah.
to them. And we say, yeah, that's what we say.
Well, when Satan fell, he was still not pooping or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when Jesus came down, when God came down as a human being, like
Right.
that was way more shameful than what happened to Satan.
That's
you know
such
what I'm
a good
saying?
point. I didn't catch that. That's so good. Yeah, because Satan is a fallen angel.
Right, but he's still an angel.
But he's still an angel, and biblically speaking, at least where we are in the timeline, angels are above humans.
Right.
So even if you're a fallen angel, you're still above. Mm-hmm. You're still above humans. Whereas what we're saying is not that an angel became man, but that God became man. So he
Right.
went lower than an angel and lower than. Of course, Jesus laid down his rights while Satan.
Right,
was
it wasn't
cast,
taken from
while
him,
Satan
yeah.
was cast out.
and
But-
I'm sure there's a shame element of that, like something being,
Well, the point of crucifixion was not only the pain and suffering of torment,
But the shame.
but it was also the shame aspect, because they would, I don't know what I mean. The loincloth that you see Jesus crucified in all the pictures. I mean, that's not historically accurate.
Right.
They would line you up by the dozen and crucify you naked on the whatever, to basically say this is what happens when you mess with Roman authority.
yeah.
But yeah, you alone have suffered the fall and torment of shame. But if you think about the historical background of what I just talked about, it is kind of shameful to see a church there. So I think they can relate to Satan in the sense of they fell from grace and they fell from their position and
Yeah,
because
yep.
of these,
Yep.
what's interesting though, for a person like the devil, whose the main locus of his sin is pride, and there's a theory, and I'm probably agreeing with it, that the locus of all sin is pride. Shame would be the most tormenting,
Yeah.
the tormenting aspect of it. Like there's some people that be like, oh, okay,
Right.
whatever, just don't hurt me,
Yeah.
don't stab me. But
Yeah.
that, it would be the most painful thing if you were the devil, is the shame aspect of
Yeah.
falling from your high position. Because in the Bible, when it tells the story of Satan, at the end it says people are going to look and say, this was
This
the guy,
worm or this guy,
this
yeah.
was the guy who's tormenting her and scaring
Yeah.
everybody. So like the ultimate sort of thing that the Bible does to the devil is it describes him in all this like flowery language, and then God says in the end everybody's just going to look at you and go,
What?
you were overrated, I'll smite heaven's golden pride.
Yeah. I feel like there was something deeper than what I was getting from that.
What were you getting initially?
Well, just golden pride is like when you think of gold, you think of riches, you think of glory, position. Their golden pride, like, I think was just like this very, very high pride. But I'm like, there's got to be something deeper than that. I don't know what it would be, but I don't know. Do you have a thought?
if I were to say blank is my pride and joy,
Yeah.
so my pride, a lot of times that's what parents say about their kids.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So think about it, because he ends the verse by saying, concord and temptation and in the fall of Eve.
Yeah.
So when I hear him say, I'll smite heaven's golden pride, I'm thinking he's saying, I'm going after man, Adam and Eve, because he created us in the image and likeness of God, right? So I'm going to go after that. So I'll never pity thee, you know. Like, I'm gonna construct your fall, because it says the concord in temptation. So he's like the conductor of temptation in the fall of Eve.
Crazy.
And I'm gonna have zero pity on you when you when you fall.
Yeah. Whoa. I knew there was something deeper.
That's my opinion. Satan of Elohim.
Immaculate divine. Who is he talking about?
Well, I think he's talking about the devil. He's saying that.
What does immaculate mean? I know they always say that about the Virgin Mary, but...
Well, so the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception is that the Virgin Mary was conceived without sin.
Immaculate means without sin?
It was perfect, basically.
How can you say that?
About the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's like perfectly evil or something. I don't... But again, I think it's using Roman Catholic language and applying it to the devil.
That right there, my gosh, that would make... Oh, no.
What?
Just knowing, like, I have, Catholic family members who are very, very serious about their Catholicism.
Like,
to use the word immaculate divine for Satan, like, oh my gosh, I'll tell you what, pity the one that would say that in front of my...
Yeah, don't say any names. Yeah, I think he'd get physical in that situation.
Oh man.
Like, he wouldn't try to hear anything of what we've been saying for the last 20 minutes about, like, the background.
No.
Wouldn't matter.
No.
You said that about the devil, that's it.
I'm
not saying that's good, that's terrible from my perspective, but I understand why, if that's the psychology.
Yeah, if you want to just use everything, yeah.
Satan of Elohim. So Elohim is a Hebrew for God.
Or gods.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's a plural form of God. So I am in Hebrew functions like an S. So El is God. Elohim is gods.
Satan of gods.
So is he saying that he's a ruler of the gods? Satan of the gods, basically.
Probably.
Then
he goes on to say, none dare stand in your way.
Yeah. Satan, though, means like opposer.
Yes.
Hasatan means the opposer. So literally that would be the opposer of the gods or opposer of God. Whoa. Satan of Elohim would, if you translated that in Hebrew, it would mean opposer of God.
Well, then that makes the other sentence even make even more sense.
Akbar. Look at it. None dare stand in your way. So God and Jesus like, whoa! It's loose. It's Lucy. It's Lucifer.
Stop that.
No, come on.
No, it's not
Nergal. I don't know, bro.
Stretching too far, my man.
I'm not even afraid of the devil. Good night. Who am I? I'm not scared of the devil, though. None dare stand in your way. Thou bow to no one. To none of Eden's feculence. That's interesting.
What's that? Feculence.
So feculence is basically, it literally means dirt, but it's like waste. It's like wasteful dirt. You know how you have soil? Right?
So that's what he's calling us.
Soil is good. You want to dig into the soil.
Yeah.
But then you have feculence, which is this nasty dirt.
Okay.
So that's what he's calling Eden, basically dirt, but he bows to none of Eden's feculence. Okay, so this is in the Quran.
Yep.
There's a story where so Allah creates Adam, and then all the angels are told to bow. The jinn are told to bow to Adam. It makes sujood to Adam.
Okay.
And then Iblis says, who's basically the devil.
Iblis?
He's the devil character in the Quran. Says, I'm not bowing to him. He's made of dust. I'm made of pure fire. I'm not bowing to him. And so that, according to the Quran, is what caused all the enmity between the devil and Allah.
Because in the beginning of the Bible, it talks about that people were made, like, basically God formed us out of the ground, like.
Right.
So
when it says Eden's feculence, he's talking about us. Like the dirt of Eden. Which is that's pretty poetic, though. This guy's lyrically, like, I don't know. We probably have to do another Cradle of Filth song because I'm about to put this guy above Danny Filth, which is like that's the real blasphemy in this whole thing because I think Danny Filth is just so brilliant. That's so he bows to none of Eden's feculence. So it's calling on that story where he refused to bow.
Yeah.
Conjure the serpent.
I thought that part was interesting. Conjure the serpent messenger, because we always look at like the snake in the garden as Satan, but in here it makes it sound like they're conjuring, like the snake is just a messenger of Satan, not Satan himself. Is that what they're trying to say?
Well, I don't know how deep into the linguistics that this guy's going, but the Hebrew as well as the Greek term for angel is messenger.
Yes.
So angelos is messenger. So you could say conjure the serpent angel.
Yeah.
So remember, he was an angel. The devil
who's
is
conjuring him?
Well, he is. I think Nergal is going back and forth because remember, he's saying ora pro nobis Lucifer. So on the one hand, he's describing the attributes of Lucifer. On the other hand, he's saying, I'm calling on you.
Yep.
And so there you go. So that's verse 1. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
I know that. Come on.
So that's the end of the Lord's Prayer. Right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. And so, that's the course, is that the kingdom belongs to Satan.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny? I don't know how much Bible this guy knows. I mean, he obviously knows a ton of Bible.
Somebody said that he grew up in a Christian home.
He must have. I mean, he grew up in Poland, and Poland's a Christian nation. As a matter of fact, John Paul II.
Yeah.
Karol Wojtyla.
Yeah.
He's from Poland.
Oh, okay.
He's Polish. So here's what's interesting about that line, for thine is the kingdom and all that. Like, on the one hand, it's like, oh, how dare you say that, Nergal. But on the other hand, when Jesus was being tempted, one of the temptations was Satan showed him all the
kingdoms of the world.
The kingdoms of the world.
And said, I'll give this to you if you just bow down and worship me.
And he says, they've been given over to me.
Yep.
So the crazy part of that is, a lot of people don't know, is that there's a sense in which God gave the kingdoms of the world over to the devil. Because people didn't want to worship God. And God was like, yo, look, I'm not going to beg you for worship. You want to worship the devil? Go for it. They're all yours, Satan.
Yep.
So, and then of course, Jesus' mission was to take it back.
Right.
Which of course, you know, the irony of the whole thing is that Jesus takes the kingdom back by dying.
Right. For
the people of the kingdom, instead of killing and conquering and all the rest of it. Which is diametrically opposed to the way that, you know, religion started in Europe.
Yeah, right.
Jesus, I never understand this about, like, militant Christianity. Where Jesus is like, all right, I'm going to take over the world by dying for the world. And then here we are, killing people, drowning Jews, baptizing them, you know, because they wouldn't get baptized.
I know.
And so we would drown them, you know, during the Crusades. You drown these poor Jewish people because they wouldn't. It's unbelievable to me. And then we wonder why people are, you know, like Jews to this day. Like, they, of course. Why would they? Yeah. Unbelievable. Scholar of the unlight. Great volcano of excrement. Like, how the hell is that a worshipful?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. Rippling eager to grow. I didn't get that. Reconsolate the firmament. I love this guy's lyrics. That was the first time I saw a dumb lyric from him. Volcano of excrement. I thought that was dumb. But the next line, reconsolate the firmament. That's so
brilliant. What's reconsolate mean?
Well, remember, it's Revelation 12 off the top of my head. Remember where he said he with his tail he swept a third of the stars and threw them on the ground?
Yeah.
So constellation is a grouping of stars.
Right.
So in Revelation he threw all the stars to the ground.
Yep.
And now he's saying reconstellate the firmament. Basically take all the stars that God put in there on the ground and then create your own. Terrible, but brilliant line of law.
I don't know, I think it's kind of funny because, again, you're starting with, like, what God already made and then you're rearranging it. You know what I'm saying? You're not creating anything of your own. It's like when in a lab they're like, oh, we've been able to create this thing and this, that. I'm like, you're not creating it from nothing though, like God did. You're creating it from other things.
You're rearranging things.
Right.
And he doesn't say create the first, he said reconstitute. But I just think that's just such good lyricism. Behold the great accuser.
Yeah, which he's called that.
He's called that in Revelation 19, I think. A megalinga of throbbing zeal.
What's a megalinga?
It's basically a big giant of throbbing zeal.
Oh. Okay.
Wrapped in yearning to pierce, to rape the seventh seal. I'm not really a fan of that line. I think the term...
What was the seventh seal?
Well, the seventh seal, I think, is a seal that opened up the seven bowls of judgment. So in Revelation, you have the seven seals, the seven trumpets, and the seven bowls. Mm-hmm. And so you get 1 through 6, and then the seventh opens up the bowls of judgment, and then the seventh bowl opens up the seven trumpets and all that. So, but the number 7 is associated with God. But it's, I don't like the term.
Right.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I feel like that's a very sacred word, and I'm not saying in art you shouldn't use it, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of that, but it goes with the Megalinga angle.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah. Yes.
So, Raptor yearning to pierce and then rape the seven seals. Not a fan of that. Destroyer of the cosmos, implore the ungod, implode the sun. Yikes. The ungod, implode the sun. Like, this is like just the power of this person that he's calling on. There is none wronging the serpent's cult, untouched and ignored, with the serpent's might and the trumpets blow in the shadow of the horns. I didn't understand any of that part. What do you mean there's none wronging the serpent's cult? I don't know if this is going back to the psychology of they were oppressed pagans by the church, and so if we join in with the serpent's cult, nobody can wrong us because we're so powerful. You see what I'm saying?
Untouched and ignored.
Yeah. With the serpent's might and the trumpets blow in the shadow of the horns. I don't know.
Maybe that's talking... Go
ahead.
I was going to say maybe that's talking about them coming and taking vengeance now. There is none wronging the serpent's cult, untouched and ignored. Maybe they felt like, like people would say, this is right that we're doing this. There's nothing wrong with taking them out, blah, 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 and doing this. But then, untouched and ignored, then with the serpent's might and the trumpets blow in the shadow of the horns, they're going to go forth and take it back over.
Handle their business, yeah. Lightning that stabs the heavens, thou quiver the Mount Sinai. That was a crazy line.
Yeah.
Right? Why?
Well, because that's what happened when God gave them the 10 Commandments. Mount Sinai was shaking, and it talks about...
Split the rocks and tablets of covenant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this to me shows this dude knows his Bible in ways that... I feel like this guy knows way more Bible than your average Christian, by far.
It sounds like it.
By far. I feel like I
put him to shame.
Well, the thing is, that's one of the reasons I want to meet him, because I'm like, I'll probably learn so much Bible from this guy just talking to him. Because he's got intertestamental stuff, he's got Latin, he's got Greek, he's got, Azazel. Remember I said something about Azazel a couple days ago? I said, you guys don't know who Azazel is.
Yep.
So Azazel is this character in intertestamental literature, and he was one of the main demons. He was one of the bad demons in the between the Old and the New Testament. And then Apollyon is the Greek term for destroyer. His name means destroyer in the book of Revelation. He's one of the bad guys. I'm like, yikes. Split the rocks on tablets of covenant. What people don't realize is that when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, he didn't just come down with the 10 Commandments. He came down with these are the words of the covenant. And the covenant is the agreement between God and man. Mm-hmm. And so, because that's the term covenant, that agreement, that marriage between God and man is one of the overarching themes in the entire Bible. Mm-hmm. And so what he's talking about is crushing that, destroying the relationship between God and man. Completely driving a wedge. He's splitting the rocks on tablets of covenant. Just completely wrecking the covenant between God and man. Because the devil has a problem with God, so that means everybody needs to have a problem with God. It's a crazy line. This right here, look at this. Habemus Satanas.
Yeah, what's that mean?
So when a pope dies, the magisterium, or all the bishops get together and they meet.
Yeah.
And if there's black smoke, that means that they haven't found the pope yet.
Oh.
But if there's white smoke, it means they found the replacement pope. And then what they do is they come out and they say, Habemus Papam. We have a father, we have a pope.
Whoa.
So he says, Habemus Satanas. We have Satan, right? Satan is my pope, right? And right there, Santa Sadie Burns.
Yeah.
So that's basically Washington, D.C. of the papacy. It's called the Holy See.
Yeah.
So he's saying Santa Sadie Burns, Phallus Dei, and phallus is again the phallic symbol is represents, the male reproductive organ deity. He's like the god of that. So there's there's a couple sexual themes in this song. There was somebody that commented on the Behemoth song that said that there was like a conflict between male and female energy and all that. And I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? Like this. But then I look at this and there's a couple, sexual undertones throughout the entire thing, which, Viva Blasphema.
Yeah.
Long live blasphemy, basically.
Oh my god.
And coitus infinitus. And this guy is a genius. So coitus is sex, so infinite sex. Like, basically, we're going to blaspheme and we're going to have tons of sex. Yeah! Ah! Because apparently, God has a problem with sex in this guy's mind, which he doesn't.
Right. Not at all.
Not at all! Neither do I. Okay. Hear the universe scream, bleeding from black holes, whom horns caress and whom God mourns. Yikes.
Yeah, what did that mean?
Because the universe is screaming because of all the destruction that Satan is rampaging through the universe.
And the black holes are those things that everything gets sucked into, right?
With the Gojira song.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Right? So like the heaviest matter of the universe.
Yep.
Yeah? And so like it's this crazy picture that the universe is being ripped apart by the devil, and God is just going, ah, my poor universe! I built this awesome universe, and then here's the devil wrecking my universe!
Well, and the horns, I'm guessing, is coming from that satanic figure that we heard of before.
Right, so the Baphomet figure.
The horns are caressing everything as God's just sitting back and crying like a baby?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. That's funny to me. I have more power in my pinky finger than the devil has, theologically speaking.
Right.
But there's God. It's funny, like in the book of Revelation, like there, Armageddon, there really isn't a big battle. Like what happens is, he orders all of his troops and the devil's at the front, and then Jesus comes back and says, "Be gone," and that's it. It's very like the Bible ends in a very anticlimactic showdown between God and the devil. There isn't like this like jihad or it's just Jesus shows up and says, "Be gone." It says, "Whom he will destroy with the word of his power," when he comes in flaming fire in the revelation of his angels and all this.
Well, if you follow that train of thought, when the world was created, it says he spoke it into existence.
Right.
So he has so much power in just his words.
Right.
I mean, if he can speak stuff into existence with his words, I mean, how much more?
Yeah. Yeah. But again, if you're secure in your faith, stuff like this doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
It makes me go, okay. But
some of it's artistic, some of it's silly.
It's brilliant.
The music was great.
The music was legit. The Latin, I love Latin. I love Latin.
You do.
I do.
You're such a fan.
I'm such a fan of Latin. That's why he has my heart. He just, Nergal. I have a big, verbal crush on you, my man.
Hey.
No, I just love the way that he uses language. It's like, but I feel like there's coding every single time that he uses Latin. It's a big, to the Catholic Church, and
certainly seems that way.
Yeah, and whom God mourns. Which, of course, on a realistic sense, I also believe that God mourns the destruction of the universe. Because on the one hand, I believe that God is in and outside of time simultaneously, and so when I look at God as he relates to time, he mourns the events that happen, and then outside of time, he's completely at peace because he's got the solution, right? So there's a sense in which this is true, but the idea that God is just sitting back there mourning and there's no solution is not true.
Right.
But I do think that, the scripture says that creation groans.
Yep.
Romans 8 says creation groans.
Yes, it does.
Because of its bondage to decay, but that it's waiting for the revelation of the sons of God.
Yep.
And so God is mourning with creation, but he's also anticipating with creation the revelation of the sons of God, which from our perspective is the end game, which is when we finally get restored from our fall, which is the other side.
And that's the point where we'd be above the angels.
Right. Which is the other side. If I was a devil, I would be super pissed off at human beings. Because we fell, but then God gives a redeemer to us that lifts us up.
Yep.
Whereas when he fell, God basically said,
You're out.
You're done.
Yep.
You're out. Okay, so lyrically, I feel like I like this. I feel like the lyrics were better this time.
Yeah, that's because it had Latin, and that's.
Well, there's Latin. Ignitus.
Not that much.
Ignilis Gehennis, I think, was in that song.
I think I liked the other one more.
Lyrically?
Yeah, wasn't there more poetry in the other one?
Yes, because it was. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this one was very poetic.
Yes, but I don't love Latin like you do, so you were able to hear the song and understand what it was talking about. You had to break the whole thing down for me. I mean, I sat here and watched your reaction video. Hey, this is a good one, guys. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think too much of it I missed, so I couldn't really experience it as much as the other one. So
lyrically, I put this higher than the other one. O Father of Satan, O Son. Musically, the other one was better. It kind of had that Kashmir. You've never heard Kashmir yet, but it's a legendary rock song, and it gets that riff gets recycled over and over again. But the metal in this one was still good. Like I was still rocking to it, but it wasn't as good as the other one, I don't think. But lyrically, this one was better.
So what do you give it?
I gave the other one a 6 because I couldn't, whatever. It was kind of funny, tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I feel like the metal and the lyrics cancel each other out because they're both better on,
Okay.
in the first and the second.
So
So I'm giving it
it?
the same thing. I'm giving it a 6.
I'm giving it a 7.
You're giving it a 7.
Yep.
Why are you giving it a 7? You gave the other one a 6.
Yeah, I know. I liked, but the other one I gave it a 6 because of the content.
We were just being funny.
Yeah, we would have actually given it a higher score if it wasn't for the content of the actual
It's true.
lyrics. But this one, I really enjoyed the music, and I really liked his vocals in it and stuff. So, and then when you gave the breakdown of the explanation, I thought that it was very interesting, and I appreciate the way that he words stuff.
Yeah. The name of the album is The Satanist. That's the name of the album.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, fine. Well, then I'll give it a 7. I don't want to be left out.
Oh, we're the same again.
I'll give it a 7. The perfect number. God's number.
Okay.
Yeah, so I still
Do
need
you
to...
realize, honey, we're at 49 minutes right now?
That's okay. That's all right. The same 4 people. So the magic number for this one will be 46. I still feel like...
No, asterisk. 46.
Why does that have to be asterisks?
Because I always
have
like
to
to see
add
if they put
your.
it.
You always have to
Yes.
add your thing in
Yes,
there.
because I like to see if they do it.
That's
And
what
every
you
time
mean.
they do it, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. They did think in mine too.
How cute.
And it's extra work.
How cute. Okay, so there we go. We gave it a 7. So Nergal, you got bumped up, buddy. Visit the village, my
Yeah,
man. You gotta
hashtag
talk
the
to us.
village.
You gotta talk. How close are we to the psychology of black metal? Talk to us, Nergal.
Yeah. Seriously, guys,
we
bombard
summon
his stuff.
thee. All right. Thank you, guys. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.